this is not good for Hakeem. And Hakeem is now out there trying to go on defense, but he doesn't have much of a defense. Watch.
Do you think it was appropriate for her to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein 11 years after he pleaded guilty?
I mean, I have not had a conversation with Stacey Plaskett to discuss this issue because we've been focused today on making sure that there was a decisive vote as it related to the Epstein files and the release. I'm thankful for the work of Representative Massey, of Ro Khanna, but most importantly, the survivors.
Do you plan to talk to her about it?
I think that we successfully defeated a resolution.
Oh my God, this is just gross, right? He's not answering the question. He's not answering the question. He's not answering the question. But watch, she just, I would have been way harder on him. Just saying, I have very little tolerance for this kind of stuff.
That lacked any basis, was not credible, and was being brought by an individual who was trying to weaponize this issue to reinvigorate his own failed gubernatorial campaign in South Carolina. It was rejected on a bipartisan basis on the floor today. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I was just asking if you personally believe messaging with Jeffrey Epstein, who is at that point a registered sex offender, is appropriate for a member of the House Democratic Caucus.
That's the third time you've asked me this question, and I'm going to give you the same exact answer. Our focus today is on making sure that the Jeffrey Epstein files were released. If you want to have a conversation with Stacey Plaskett about it, I'm sure she'd be willing to talk to you. It was an illegitimate effort to try to remove her from the House Committee on Intelligence, and that was defeated in a bipartisan way.
Well, let me ask you about you, because the White House has been highlighting an email that I'm sure you've seen today that Jeffrey Epstein got in 2013. They say it shows you were soliciting money and dinner from an Epstein. The email was not sent from you. It was sent from a political consulting firm called Dynamic SRG that says, "We are thrilled to announce we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you would like to get involved." What's your response? Do you recall that email being sent to Jeffrey Epstein from that team?
Yeah, of course, I have no recollection of the email. I've never had a conversation with him, never met him, know nothing about him other than the extreme things that he's been convicted of doing. And that's why, I'm just strongly supportive of the effort, backing the survivors to make sure that everything can come out, whatever is in those Department of Justice files.
Yeah,
so you
right.
Never got
You never cared about any of them, for goodness sakes. I mean, this stuff does not happen in a vacuum, people. You know what happens? You get into a meeting, okay? You're the politician. You get into a meeting with your consultants and your staff, and they say, hey, we're going to approach so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and they run down the list. And you say yay or nay. And he's sitting there like, oh, I'm totally innocent because it was just the consultant trying to set up a dinner. I had nothing to do with that. Well, I don't know. We're going to go through a whole lot more emails, right, Hakeem? And we're going to find out. Again, if I look at this report that's coming to us out of, this is actually Right Angle News Network reporting this, breaking. They say newly released campaign records show that from 1990 to 2018, Jeffrey Epstein directed about 89% of his political donations to Democrat and progressive causes, and they include individual recipients like Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and Chuck Schumer. I have not personally confirmed that, so we will we'll put a pin in that at least until tomorrow, because but it wouldn't surprise me. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. He tried to give 30,000 to that woman out of the Virgin Islands who was on the Intelligence Committee. Okay, are we adding things up here? Right, you've heard my own sort of viewpoint on it, that this guy was a super spy and that he was here and working, and we knew all about it. And unfortunately, that's probably the cold, hard truth. And there are a lot of other countries that knew about it. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to come out. Not all of it. We're not going to get all of it because the FBI was there, like, raiding the place. And then they sat on the files. Remember? Pam Bondi couldn't get those. The truckload of files that she finally got. And then there was sort of nothing there. I'm going to just tell you what I think. I think that he was a super spy. I think that Maxwell kind of was running the whole shebang. She found a guy with obviously pretty bad tendencies, but was a charmer, total charmer. I never met him, but I know people that knew him well, and I've got one source that really knew him well and said for sure he worked for intelligence ops, not just us, but likely other countries around the world as well. And he was a heck of a charmer. So Maxwell goes out. She's got all this software special stuff from daddy and basically gets it, in other governments all over the world, with the U.S. apparently having some kind of backdoor entry into this PRISM program. And she needs somebody to come up with the compromise. I mean, again, this is speculation on my part, but, I wasn't born yesterday. And suddenly this guy emerges. And with, lots of money. Nobody can quite account for all the money he had. So I think it's suspicious. And I think that probably a lot of the stuff that would have implicated intelligence operations, that was already taken out. But a lot will still come out, right? I mean, poor Larry Summers, he's sitting there going, oh my gosh, everybody knows my lady troubles now. And there's a lot of people and a lot of names that are going to come forward. And so I would just say, to the Democrats, there's a reason I think you didn't do this when you could have for 4 whole years. And now suddenly you wanted him to push this out. And that's what he's doing. He tried not to, but hey, you guys are just masochists that can't stop inflicting pain on yourselves. Hakeem Jeffries, great example. Exhibit A. Again, he's being asked, what the heck? Why won't you say boo about that lady from the Virgin Islands?
I have no idea what James Comer is talking about in terms of anything that any prior consultant may have sent. I had no idea about that either. But James Comer apparently made the representation on the floor of the House that I sat down with Jeffrey Epstein, had dinner with Jeffrey Epstein, have contributions from Jeffrey Epstein. He's a stone cold liar.
No. We just watched it. That's not what he said. He said you were looking for a dinner. Your consultants, your campaign was looking for a dinner. Not that you had dinner. So get your facts straight, buddy boy.
James Comer.
Oh, yeah. I got to call him the Brooklyn Barack. Don't you love how he says idea? It's like from my neck of the woods. The word is idea. Baraki.
Knows it. This is all part of an effort to try to deflect from their failures as a House majority to deal with the issues of importance to everyday Americans, and of course to the fact that Republicans have been running a pet protection program for the last several months.
Woo! Okay, he said the bad word. We took it out because we like to keep it clean here on the Trish Regan Show. The Republicans haven't been running that. Guys, you were the ones taking the money. I'm sorry. Again, if these stats hold out, 89% of the donations coming to the Dems from Epstein.